I'm Dr. David Gordon, the Mayor of Burbank. Welcome to the Mayor's Show. Hi, I'm Dr. David Gordon, Mayor of the City of Burbank, and I'm here today at the St. Leon's Cathedral, a Western Diocese Armenian church in Burbank. And not only are we going to take a look at what we drive by and see every day in Burbank and on the freeway, but we're actually going to go inside and speak with the Archbishop, Archbishop Hovnan Derderian, and find out what really happens on the inside of this church. My first question is a simple one, I think. How should an English-speaking person address you? His Eminence, Archbishop, Father Hovnan.
No matter how they address to me, what is more important to me, that in the depth of my heart I feel that I'm a humble servant of Christ our Lord and a servant of the community. During official ceremonies, they address to me His Eminence Archbishop Hovnan Derderian. But when I am in the community activities, with my people, I would rather feel more comfortable when they address to me Father Hovnan.
Before we discuss what physically stands on this property, both the interior and exterior, could you tell me briefly, and I realize it's a 1700-year-old history, but a little bit about the history of the Armenian Church as well as the modern-day structure, the organizational chart or chain of command, if you will, and where this diocese falls within the structure?
When we speak about the Armenian Apostolic Church, the Armenian Church has been established officially in the year 301 when Christianity was accepted officially as the state religion. Then onwards, the church has grown in Armenia, in historic Armenia, and of course, after the genocide, the diaspora was born in the life of Armenians. The headquarters of the Armenian Apostolic Church is located in Armenia, in the city of Holy Echmiadzin.
Archbishop, this is an amazing mural with some significant images and figures. Can you tell us about the significance of what we're seeing here?
What you see here is the Mother See of Holy Echmiadzin and Mount Ararat, and next to the Echmiadzin you see King Dritades and Catholicos Saint Gregory the Illuminator, who has been the patron saint of the Armenian Apostolic Church. So these are two very important symbols, state and church, working hand in hand, for the initiation of the spread of Christianity in Armenia. And Echmiadzin is the symbol of Christianity also in the Armenian nation's life. In diaspora, we have close to 30 dioceses, and this is probably the largest diocese outside of Armenia, where Armenians have migrated from Middle East, from Armenia, and from other parts of the world, who have also made, especially the diocese of the Western Hemisphere, their home, where they have also kept well their tradition, their culture, their faith, their language, but above all, they have also been loyal citizens of the United States of America.
How about yourself? Where in the hierarchy of the International Armenian Apostolic Church does the Archbishop of the Western Diocese of the United States fall?
All bishops are equal when it comes to the hierarchy, but the Catholicos, who is the head of the church, is the first amongst all bishops who is elected to be the head of the Armenian Apostolic Church, and that is a position for life. Therefore, any person who is a priest who is being elected to be the primate, he is also ordained to be the bishop of the diocese. Therefore, be it myself as the Archbishop of the Western Diocese or the Archbishop of the Eastern Diocese, the primate of the Canadian Diocese, we all are equal when it comes to the hierarchy of the Armenian Apostolic Church. Therefore, there are no inequalities amongst the bishops or the archbishops. It doesn't really matter how large your diocese is. What is most important that you are holding the position of the primate, and that also gives us the reminder that we are given and challenged with many duties and responsibilities to lead the people to the church and to God.
I know you are originally from Beirut, earned a graduate degree from Oxford, and have written 27 books. Tell us a little more about the Archbishop Hovnan Derderian, how you got here, what you have done here, and what you would like to do in the future.
My journey of life has been a long one. I was born in Beirut, Lebanon. Then I went to Armenia for my training, for my priesthood training, and then went to England, University of Oxford, where I have obtained my degree, Master of Art in Religion. And 1984, I was in Canada, first being a pastor in the city of Toronto, then being elected as the primate for the Canadian diocese. And the year 2003, I was elected to be the primate of the Western Diocese. And it has been 12 years that I am here in the Western Diocese. I feel that wherever I have been called to serve, the Lord has led my steps towards the people, to be engaged in the life of the community, for the well-being of the community. Here again, I am blessed to be graced upon by the support, immense support of the people in this diocese. To serve the people, to me personally, is a privilege. In other words, to share the gifts of God with the people of God. That is my inner feeling, you know, what heart dictates to you to do, then you become a partaker, a shareholder in God's work, in God's holy work.
So let's start on the outside. This is an amazing stone structure. There's really nothing like it in Burbank. How was it built, and what are some of the unique characteristics included in what people can see from the outside?
When you look at this cathedral, St. Leon Armenian Cathedral, you can immediately depict that this is an Armenian church. Characteristically, you depict, the features of an Armenian traditional church.
Archbishop, this appears to be a very original art. Is this typical in an Armenian church to have something like this, or is this?
Not necessarily, but we like mosaic, maybe typical of California, maybe I should say.
It demonstrates the various churches
various
around the
churches
world.
in the diocese and outside of diocese in Armenia, traditional historic churches. But also you see that the modern touch is there, the merging of the old traditional Armenian architecture as well as the modern architecture are merged together so harmoniously. That is one thing which attracts the people. They feel at home. But it is also important to see when you enter into the cathedral that in as much as this is the Armenian architecture, the new style, the new approach has been introduced, so harmoniously that it brings a new flavor to art, to architecture. And that is one thing which attracts people, helps them to be connected, to feel in their ancestral home in Armenia, and to be able to pray to God. That is probably one of the most important characteristics.
Archbishop, we're in the cathedral. It's a magnificent space for the church. Can you tell us a little bit about the significance of the various parts of the room?
You see the main altar, where you see the Blessed Virgin Mary, and traditionally that's the picture that we have on our altar. And in the cathedral you see the stained glass windows which represent the life of Christ, but also saints of the Armenian Apostolic Church. So in a way, the history of Christianity as reflected in the Gospels and history of the Armenian faith life is being reflected, and merged, together in this cathedral. So when they walk into the cathedral, they're having a journey into the depth of history. This cathedral, yes, it is primarily used for our religious purposes, but I'm very happy to say that, many important events, especially musical events, are being organized, in the cathedral. Concerts, piano concerts, and other concerts are being organized because of the acoustics. It has been very, very popular. And we're very proud of organizing similar events. I remember the Governor Derderian has been here when he was honored. The concert was being organized. An event was also dedicated to 9/11. Actually, was organized again here in the cathedral, organized by Lark Musical Institute. The cathedral is for the community, for our faithful, but we also make sure that the doors are wide open for special events, for ecumenical services in our community life. In September, actually September 26, 28, we're organizing Faith and Order ecumenical event, here at the diocese, where leaders, religious leaders from around the world will be here to host their annual conference and their ecumenical service, and we are hosting that event. That shows, the engagement and the involvement of the Armenian Church, internationally. And the stones are also brought from Armenia, the tufa stone. When they touch it, they feel it. They feel the strength of the faith of their forefathers.
And what do we have on the inside of the church? How are the rooms utilized in terms of what you do here, the services, Sunday school, special events? Could you elaborate?
Well, the church, the Armenian church for us has been the most important stronghold, especially in the past centuries where we did not have our motherland, when Armenians were dispersed in diaspora. The church has given them the guidance, the strength, the spiritual nourishment, the sense of belonging. Therefore, in as much as it is the place where we feel and live the Christian faith, the faith in God, it is also the place where we feel and live and relive the history, which is important because history helps us to feel the roots. History is also very important, which gives us the vision for the future. The church will continue to be for us the most important stronghold, be it in Armenia and in diaspora. Any member of the church is challenged to keep the faith, the Christian faith, but also any member of the church, the Armenian church, is also challenged wherever it may be, in Canada, in the States, in Europe, to feel that you are an integral part of that community. You are able to contribute for the well-being of that community.
Archbishop, I see many names and plaques on the wall. Can you tell me what this represents?
These are our benefactors, godfathers of the cathedral and the diocese, people who have supported us in the building of the cathedral, in the maintenance of our diocese, and in the continuation of our mission. We are so thankful to them.
Archbishops, this is an amazing room here at the church. Can you tell us a little bit about its significance and how it's used?
This is where we have the official receptions of the diocese, where ecumenical leaders, governmental officials, and other dignitaries are being honored, or special events like, as I said, when we honor CEOs like of hospitals and other institutions, humanitarian institutions. What you see here, pictures of heads of the church, starting the present Catholicos, and then former primates of the Western Diocese. And I am the 8th primate of the Western Diocese, the Archbishop of the Diocese. So you feel the layers of history when you enter into this room, because each person has left a legacy in the life of the Armenian Church and the nation. And we also have a larger facility, another large hall, which is a place where the community activities are taking place.
Archbishop, this is an amazing hall here. I've actually attended some events here. Tell us about what happens in this room.
Basically, we use the hall for cultural events and for community activities. We also would love to host events which the City of Burbank would like to organize. We've done it in the past. We would also be very willing to host events which you would initiate, the city may initiate, like the police department or other institutions in the City of Burbank. Yes, this is the diocesan headquarters, but this is equally a place for all the members of the community in the City of Burbank.
Archbishop, we are now one floor below the cathedral, and we're at the Derderian Museum. Can you tell us a little bit about the museum and its significance?
Here in the Derderian Museum, we have displayed historic artifacts. But other than that, the actual place is used for the youth department, for the religious department. Yes, it is the museum. As you see it, the displays are here. But it is also used for many other important events, which are taking place in our community life. We are now in the actual hall where we hold exhibitions, special lectures, musical events. We also see the displays where we also exhibit the most important items which are taken away for security reasons. But at the same time, on weekends, we have the Saturday school, the Sunday school, and special conferences which are taking place. Actually, the police department has organized their meetings and their conferences in this room.
You obviously are very focused on the Armenian American community, but I understand your church opens itself up to the non-Armenian community as well and actively reaches out to non-Armenian organizations. I think the Burbank Police Department has been here for some kind of training. There's been a Burbank's Boards and Commissions banquet that was held here. There's a Burbank Library Popular Trivia Challenge, I believe, took place. And many other hosting and outreach efforts have occurred. Could you elaborate on other such efforts and what you think the church and your visitors get out of them?
I firmly believe that the church cannot be an island within the community. When I speak about the church, speaking about the Armenian Apostolic Church, the diocese, since its inception, 1898, when there was one diocese in North America, has been actively engaged in ecumenical movements. And today, especially, the past decade, we have been very much so involved, in interfaith activities, in ecumenical services, in American Red Cross, and in other community activities where we want to see the engagement of the members of the community to be dedicating their lives for the well-being of their peers. In the coming months, we will be having special events, one dedicated to LA Children's Hospital, another one dedicated to Glendale Adventist, and we have also had activities dedicated to St. Joseph Hospital. So these are activities which have been part of our diocesan life and will continue to be part of our diocesan life. We feel that we have the moral obligation and the duty to educate and help and guide our people, not only to the cathedral, but to make the cathedral a bridge which would lead them to many, many other institutions which are important in the life of the larger community.
On April 24th, 2015, the world will observe the 100th anniversary of the onset of the Armenian genocide, which under orders of the Ottoman Turkish government took the lives of 1.5 million Armenians, while another 800,000 sought refuge around the globe, creating the Armenian diaspora. Those 2 million plus Armenians lived in what is now eastern Turkey, on lands that their ancestors had lived on for 3,000 years. What is the significance of the 100th anniversary, And what steps can be taken to bring closure to the controversies related to recognition?
With the 100th anniversary of the Armenian genocide, we first commemorate the memory of the victims. But to me personally, we also celebrate the perseverance of our struggles to maintain our identity, our Christian identity. And to me personally, the 100th anniversary of the Armenian genocide is the celebration of life, celebration of the resurrection of a nation. It is also a time to renew our commitment to continue our struggle in terms of maintaining our culture, our faith, our language. That is the significance of the centenary celebrations, commemorative celebrations in the life of every Armenian. To me personally, to be a loyal citizen of this country, that brings justice to the memory of the victims. To me personally, to be dedicating myself to the Christian faith and the culture of my church and nation, it also gives a clear message to the youth, to the future of my nation. This is my philosophy, my perception of celebration of the 100th anniversary, to continue in our struggle to maintain our identity.
A significant day in American history occurred on September 11th, 2001. You actually have a monument dedicated to the victims of 9/11 right out in front on the church premises, and I was struck by that as I first came to the church and observed it. What's the story behind the monument, the 9/11 monument, and the decision to put it in place?
We all know that with 9/11, history has changed. Americans have been hurt in this country, and the entire world has been shattered. And since then, lives of the world citizens have changed. I think every citizen of this country, every citizen of the world should remember with reverence the victims of 9/11. That having in mind, when we have built the cathedral, I had the thought that the construction of this cathedral, the consecration of this cathedral, should bring justice to the memory of the victims of 9/11. And I also initiated that monument in remembrance of the victims of 9/11. And I believe that this is the only monument probably in the city of Burbank next to the cathedral, which was consecrated during the head of the Armenian Apostolic Church, Catholicos Karekin II, when he also made a special prayer for the victims of 9/11. When we look at the monument, we have a moment of silence. We pray for the victims, but also we want to make sure that this would never, ever repeat in the history of humanity.
Archbishop, this is the memorial plaque that we were talking about. Can you fill us in a little bit? This is the same type of stone from Armenia. Can you tell us a little bit about this significance?
Well, this is the monument dedicated to 9/11. Let peace reign in memory of the victims. We want this to be a reminder to all that as people of God, we need to make sure that we are the architects of peace in the life of the world.
Archbishop, as mayor of the city of Burbank, representing the people of Burbank, I very much appreciate you taking the time to address some of the questions of the community, and thank you very much for speaking with me today.
Thank you, Your Honor, and I thank also the people of the city of Burbank for their friendship, for their prayers, and for their perseverance to make the city of Burbank, to me personally, as I live in the city of Burbank, the most beautiful city in my life.
Thank you, Archbishop.
Kerofe Yaakov.